Everybody, welcome back into the WSAZ Now studio. This is our Wednesday night stream, our Wednesday show, which means we are bringing in WSAZ Sports Director Keith Morehouse. We are talking college football. Keith will, of course, talk a little bit of college basketball at the end of the show. Let's lead things off with who we typically do, the Marshall Thundering Herd. They go down to Georgia State, get themselves back in the win column. 30-18 is your final. Marshall came into this thing understanding they were probably the better team, but Georgia State gave them a run for their money.
Yeah, they did, Joseph. And I think Coach Gibson kind of alluded to that earlier in the week. There's not much of a crowd down there. It played in the big old Braves stadium. It's, voluminous and very few fans, friends and family. MCI crowd, Sonny Randall used to call it, friends and family. But, and then they busted out a 92-yard run at the beginning of the game, and Marshall was kind of shell-shocked. And they righted the ship pretty quickly. But I think there were three critical points of that game. One was Georgia State was up 7-0, and then they throw a pick that Jadarius Green McKnight made a great catch on. They were going down to maybe score again. That's 14-0. That might be a different ball game. Then later in the game, Marshall had it up 24-18 at the 2-yard line, and they go 98 yards on a drive to basically make it 30-18 and kind of close out the game. Georgia State had another opportunity, and then Caleb Clark Glover had a nice fumble recovery in Marshall territory that sealed the deal. But, solid win. Anytime you get a road win, it's a good win. Did they play perfectly? No, by no stretch did they play perfectly. And Coach Gibson said he's still waiting for that same effort they got against ODU. They haven't played those complete kinds of games. They're giving up big plays on defense, and then they'll come back and make, a big turnover, get a big takeaway. And he wants them to be a little more consistent, which most coaches lose sleep over every week. So, it was a good win. Carlos Del Rio Wilson was fantastic. Toby Payne was tremendous. Game. Yeah, he, Coach Gibson even talked about that, that he gets requests all the time. Hey, play this guy, target him more. He's a big target. He's athletic. He obviously is a good blocker. And we talked a little bit about that in the news conference about Toby Payne and his impact on this offense.
Toby is he's a great football player, and every week Steve can attest to this. On the radio show I get asked, we need to get Toby the ball more. I agree. Let's and Coach Smith agrees as well. So we have to keep finding ways to get him the ball. He made some huge plays in that game. Coming off our goal line on the little Y pop was a huge play. The touchdown before the half. So he's a guy that we count on.
He hasn't really been targeted that much many games before, so a lot of people wasn't expecting him to get targeted this game. So Toby, he's a great athlete as far as catching, blocking, and route running. So to let him be free this game, that kind of felt good.
Yeah, so he had 5 catches for 110 yards. And what he does, Joseph, is and Del Rio Wilson talked about that as well, he's just another weapon for that offense. You don't have to put it all on Floyd Lacey or maybe Michael Green, the running back, or Adrian Norton. I mean, when you can stretch it out and they gotta cover everybody, it makes your offense that much better. So Toby Payne, you got to believe that they'll look to target him a little bit more in these last 2 or 3 games should they go bowling.
Yeah. When your tight end's your leading receiver for the day, that you also put that on film, and whoever you see, for the next end of the month here, they have to respect that now too.
Yeah, they in that big drive, that 98-yarder, they had a little pop pass right over the middle where only a tight end, it was a little bit high actually, and Payne went up and got it. It was, I think, a 29, 30-yard game, but that got him out of the hole and started them on that game-winning drive. So, he's a weapon, has been very reliable, strong kid, athletic too. He broke away from a tackle to score that touchdown. So the more they can get it to 81, usually their fortunes improve on offense.
And how about Carlos Del Rio Wilson? I mean, 22 of 27 for 321, 3 touchdowns, 97 rushing yards. It's a guy that can do it all.
Yeah, he was back home. That's his home. He even played a high school game in that stadium. So he felt right at home, had a bunch of people watching. And, he's kind of a little bit of a showman, which I kind of like. He smiles during a game and, the opposing players and fans go, what's he smiling about? But that's just the way he plays. And when he's able to, to do his thing, he ran the ball well, and then, pick up those targets in the passing game, he's even better. So he engineered a great game for them and, made that deficit, coming back out of that deficit, not such a big hill to climb.
So it takes Marshall to 5-5 for the year with 2 games to play. You got to at least win one of them. You'd like to win them both, but one of them makes you bowl eligible. And next on the docket for them, on the road at Appalachian State, that's Saturday at 2:30. The Herd's about a 4.5, 5-point favorite.
Yeah, and you throw those things out the window. Coach Gibson and the team, a lot of those guys are newcomers, have no idea about what Marshall's old rivalries were like. Well, this is one of those. So even the players said, hey, this was a rivalry before the Sun Belt. And so they learned pretty quickly that Marshall and Appalachian State go way back. And going to Boone and getting a win is not easy. So they understand that. Appalachians had some misfortune this year, just 1-5 in the league, but they played a lot of close games, just haven't been able to get over the top. They played JMU, and JMU's been pretty much, drilling everybody. So they lost that one big, 56-10, I believe. So they got something to prove. If they win 2 games, they go bowling. So they're not going to lie down and say the season's over when Marshall comes to town, and they might not even do it if they were 3-8. I mean, that's how much these 2 teams and these 2 programs kind of it's a healthy respect, but they don't like each other.
Yeah. It's pretty cool that despite some of the conference realignment stuff, just by the nature of where we're at now, you kind of rekindle something that people are very familiar with in Huntington.
Yeah, those programs, were on the same track, and to come back together, it gives fans lots of things to talk about because they've taken road trips to Boone, and their fans are rough, man. The players already know they're going to expect some choice words and maybe an object or 2 flying on the field. But that's what makes college football fun. I mean, if you don't dislike the team you're playing, it's just not – the fans on both sides aren't as passionate. So that's going to be that'll be a complete opposite of what they got at Georgia State. They don't have to bring their own energy. The fans will be there, and that'll be an atmosphere that'll be fun to watch.
That's a concept that's hard for a lot of people to understand, is that you don't have to have implications for a game to matter. It doesn't have to be a college football playoff implicated game or conference championship sort of thing. Sometimes you just don't like the other guy, and that's enough.
Yeah, and every coach talks about it, Joseph. We've all heard it. I mean, you get 12 opportunities guaranteed. That's it. So now you're at 10? So nothing goes faster than football season. So they understand what's at stake. Coach Gibson said he wants to make sure they get bowl eligible because the seniors deserve it. And if Coach, was frank, and he often is, he thinks they should have already been bowl eligible. There are a couple of games got away that they probably would love to have back, but you don't get that opportunity. So, yeah, you take each Saturday as a gift and go play your butt off and see what you can do. And this will be a fun one because these 2 teams go way back.
Yeah. How about West Virginia? They get beat by Arizona State 25-23. That's a result that if you told me a month ago when they were really in their valley of the season that you would have said, okay, maybe we'll take that. But the way they've been playing well, and the way this game shook out where you actually had a lead in the 4th quarter, this one hurts for West Virginia, and that's a good Arizona State team.
Yeah, it is, and it was a good opportunity because their starting quarterback, Sam Leavitt, was out. He's out for the season now. And their star wide receiver also is out. So this was a little chance that West Virginia could get in there and steal one and then still be playing for bowl eligibility. And they had it right there on them. That incredible 90-yard screen pass to Sincere Bowers with 3rd and 19, I think. And nobody in the world thought they'd first, convert the first down, nonetheless go for a touchdown. And so that was a great play. And they had a chance, again, late, which is all you want on the road in a tough atmosphere. But the biggest lament for Rich Rodriguez was the inability to run the ball. I mean, how many times in his news conference did he go, we couldn't get that much on the running game? 68 yards rushing is not going to work with his offense. And even though Scotty Fox had a nice game through the air, you got to complement it with some run game, and they didn't have it. And that's what he wants to change, and he wants it to change right now. He doesn't have much patience for not being able to pick up a couple of yards.
Well, that's rough on you when you get in those, must-run kind of situations, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2. You got to be able to trust your backfield and your offensive line to get that yardage. And if you don't have it, man, you're playing up a hill. They're going to just blitz you, and they know you have to throw the ball.
Yeah, and he's had some injuries, obviously, even at the start of the season with Jaheim White. But I think he's sending the message with, putting Curtis Jones Jr. in there. Like, hey, if you guys can't get the yard, I'm going to find somebody who can. Mm-hmm. And Jones Jr. has done well, in short yardage situations. But I think he's putting the onus on his run game and his line to say, come on, you got to get cranking here. So they're off this week. They got another week before Texas Tech comes to town. But suffice it to say that, that's not the standard West Virginia fans are used to not be playing for a bowl opportunity, even though it is his first season. He had 65 new players, so that's not an excuse and he won't use it as an excuse. He knows good and well that there's some games that got away, but there's no question they're playing better football at this point in the season.
Yeah, you could do the woulda, coulda, shoulda game, but I mean they outgained Arizona State by I think close to 90 yards, and you think maybe 40 to 50 additional rushing yards, that might change the result of that game.
Yeah, and those things are exacerbated on the road. You know, a penalty here, a turnover here, it makes your chances of getting a road win go down exponentially. And so coaches will tell you on the road, you got to be nearly flawless to get one. And they had their chances, and they're going to lament sometimes some games they had this year that they thought got away from them, and that's probably one of them.
Yeah. I'm not sure if you truly do carry any momentum into the offseason, but there would be no doubt in my mind that these guys would have an extra pep in their step if they finish the year beating a top 10 Texas Tech team at home.
You know as well as I do that Texas Tech, all their fans are going to think, oh, that's not if you've been to Morgantown, you've played West Virginia at home, then it's not going to be a cakewalk. And they're not going to quit. They've already shown they're not quitting this year. So, I mean, I don't know what the spread will be, not that it matters, but if Texas Tech goes in there overconfident, Mountaineers might smack them. So that's going to be a real if you want to say there's a trap game at the end of the year, for all the things that are on the line for Texas Tech, I'd say that's a trap game for them.
Do we know what time that one kicks off yet?
They haven't announced it yet.
Man,
no.
If they put it at night, Texas Tech people are probably like, are you serious?
Yeah.
Please make this a nooner.
Everybody in Morgantown would like that if it's a night game. Yeah, for sure.
For sure. All right, let's go to the Commonwealth where the Kentucky Wildcats beat Tennessee Tech, formerly undefeated Tennessee Tech, by the way. FCS program that's in the top 10 there. 42-10 is your final. It's a balanced game for UK. They had 261 yards passing, 207 yards rushing. And, you know, they did to an FCS team what you would expect an SEC program to do.
Yeah, they did, but they did it. You know what I'm saying? Instead of letting them hang around and come in there thinking just show up and win this thing 28-15, something like that. No, they sent a message. Cutter Boley, 18-21 with the touchdown. He was very efficient. And that's what you want to do. It's hard enough to win in the SEC. So if you can go play one of these FCS teams and take care of business quickly like that did, that sets you up for this week's game, which is a big, big game in Nash Vegas.
Yeah, it's been a special year down there, hasn't it?
Yeah.
This is not the Vanderbilt that people are used to. This is a ranked Vanderbilt. This is, of course, as we are recording this, we have not seen the most recent playoff rankings, but last week they were 14th. And Diego Pavia, we know he's a baller.
Yeah.
That guy, you never know what you're going to get, but you're going to get his best as far as effort is concerned every single time. So that's going to be a tough one in the newly renovated stadium down there in Nashville.
That's right. And, you know, in my lifetime, I mean, Vanderbilt's been, you know, a factor three times. I mean, you just don't see
James Franklin era.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, that was probably it. And now they're every week, you know, people used to write them down as a W on the schedule. Not anymore. So, but I think that's going to be a good game. The Cats 9.5-point underdogs. I don't know the way they're playing, and just like Coach Rodriguez's guys, UK kids could have quit earlier in the year. Things weren't going well, and they have stayed the course, and they've picked it up a notch, and have a good chance to they're going to go. I think they're 5-5, right? They're going to go bowling, yeah, they've really acquitted themselves nicely when this season could have gone south on them.
Yeah. Vandy's coming off an overtime win against Auburn, so they are mortal. It's not like that's an Auburn team that, I mean, they don't even know who their coach is right now.
Yeah.
So it's not like things are stable and all sunshine and rainbows down in Auburn, Alabama. But this same Vanderbilt team also has beaten Missouri. So they can beat anybody, hang with anyone. Also think maybe if you're going to OT with Auburn, you might be able to get caught on a day that you're not having your best.
Hey, and Kentucky's done it, gone to beat Florida, beat them convincingly. They've had some good wins. I don't think there's any fear or everybody going to Nashville scared or thinking, oh, they're really good. I mean, the Cats could go down there and not easily, they could pull the upset. I don't think that's out of the question.
Wouldn't be the most shocking thing in it.
Not at all.
Sure. All right, Ohio State, they beat UCLA 48-10. Nico Iamaleava did not play for UCLA, so I think that was that guy's first start, and his name's losing me. Oh, Luke Duncan.
Duncan, yeah.
His name. I think that was his first start there. So UCLA was behind the eight ball regardless of having Nico, and then you play a guy at quarterback, and that's his first environment being in. Ohio State does to UCLA what you would expect, and really, it's probably the best the running game has looked all year for Ohio State. That's the one thing that a lot of people have been nitpicky on is, maybe they should run the ball a little bit better.
Yeah.
But they looked pretty good on Saturday.
222 yards with Jackson, West, and Peoples. C.J. Donaldson didn't even get a carry. He's been kind of banged up a little bit. But just guessing, looking into Ryan Day's mind, that was probably his thought. Let's go gash this thing, run the ball, take care of business early. Not really worried that UCLA was going to score a bunch of points on them without Iamaleava. And so they, that was business-like, business trip. Took care of it, and now they move on, and what's coming up down the road. Not this week, but week after that.
Well, you can't even start thinking about that until you play Rutgers and beat them, right?
Yeah.
The question in a lot of people's minds, the health of some of these guys. Carnell Tate has not played for 2 weeks now. Jeremiah Smith only played the first half. He caught, I think, 4 passes for 40 yards, had the one.
One of them was beautiful.
He looked fine while he was out there, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But he was listed as questionable before the game, and then if you search his name on Twitter, you see him limping off the field, and it doesn't look great. Hopefully, for Ohio State people, it's just muscle tightness, but you never know because they play that injury stuff close to the vest. They don't really tell you what's what with these guys. I'd be shocked if Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith play against Rutgers.
And honestly, Ryan Day, looking at the big picture, probably will hold him out if there's any doubt at all. You don't have to play him. I mean, not to denigrate Rutgers, but they've got their backups are good too. They're not Jeremiah Smith and Tate, but I don't think he has to play him. And then the way they ran the ball last week, if you can do that again against Rutgers, it should be another no-problem Saturday for the Buckeyes.
I was telling some people this over the weekend, and it sounds like such Buckeye arrogance, but in a weird way, this team plays with its food out there.
Yeah.
Like they and you have to – that's a fine line towing that because you can't just say, oh, we can turn it on and turn it off when we want because you got to make sure you have the ability to turn it on.
Right.
But they really do. I mean, they threw a lot of their – 2s and 3s out there. Again, you saw guys like Bryson Rogers catching passes, Quincy Porter, and you say, oh, yeah, we can let Carnell Tate sit. We can let Jeremiah Smith sit. We can let C.J. Donaldson sit and still win comfortably. Not everybody can do that, but, again, you want to make sure that you get up to Ann Arbor and these guys aren't rusty for having sitting out a game.
Well, and knowing that their ultimate prize going down the line, they're going to see much stiffer competition. I mean, Indiana obviously had a lights-out year. Illinois has been good, but, I mean, their schedule is going to ramp up considerably here from Michigan on out. So he's probably setting them up for that stretch run, making sure everybody's healthy because then there are no Saturdays off. Not to say that Rutgers is a Saturday off, but you know what I'm saying. The
31
the level,
favorite.
Yeah, the level's going to go up. And so I'm sure he's looking down the road thinking, all right, I got a plan for this and that. He's got the whole Dr. Frankenstein thing going, I'm sure.
He kind of feels like an evil genius to me this year.
Sometimes he does, yeah.
Yeah, he kind of does.
Yeah.
Especially all these I feel bad for the Columbus media folks trying to get an answer about the injuries, and you just know that they're not going to tell you that stuff.
Well,
it's not like the NFL.
Yeah, he's a pro at it, and they dig and ask it different ways, and we all done it. Some coaches are better at coach speak than others. Some are more frank than others. But Ryan Day, man, if he doesn't wear a vest like Jim Tressel, if he did, he keeps it close to the vest because he's very hard to crack. You know, he's hard to get inside that head of his, and that's on purpose.
Somebody asked him about Carnell Tate, and I think they said, "Hey, has there been a setback in his recovery process?" And he was basically like, "Yeah, I'm not answering that. Like, I'm sorry, you're just going to have more questions if I answer that."
And honestly, most coaches don't talk about injuries. It's just,
right.
I mean, nowadays you do have the Sun Belt now has the availability that comes out during the week where, okay, he's not playing, he's questionable. So you get a little more information, but coaches, by and large, aren't talking about injuries. That's just not what they do.
Mm-hmm. They don't have anything to gain from that. We're going to do tell your opponent?
No, and then there also the HIPAA things come into consideration, and you got to be careful how you discuss someone else's health. Mm-hmm. And so, he's too big a pro to fall for that. He's, next question, right?
Right. So that game's at noon.
Yeah.
And then next week we'll be talking about the game.
It's coming.
So. All right, you want to talk about some Marshall basketball here? It's been a week since we've talked about them. I guess we would have been streaming while the Elon game was going on last Wednesday. Uh-huh. So we haven't talked about that one.
Yeah.
Wyatt Fricks went crazy in that game, didn't he?
That's as good a shooting performance as you'll see at the Henderson Center. 7 of 8, 13 of 14 overall field goals.
Daggone. That's a nice
7
night.
of 8 threes. He had numerous rebounds, some blocks, a couple of steals, assists. he had a career night, and you know, good for him because this is his 5th year. He's now the old guy, and never one to really be a leader because he didn't have to be, but now he kind of is. But he's got a lot of talent, and if he can showcase that, they got a good chance in the Sun Belt. Some other players have come to the forefront. Landon Joseph has really stood out. He's a kid that's a freshman that had 22 points against Virginia. Now, Virginia, you know, they smoked Marshall, ran him out of the gym in the first half. Marshall outscored him 45-43 in the second half, which is encouraging for Corny Jackson and his crew because they didn't quit. I mean, they got rolled, but Joseph had 22 points, a freshman. He doesn't play like a freshman. He's got a lot of offensive game, and he's a guy that no one was even talking about before the season. So he's been good. Van Komen's been very steady. So I think a game like that helps them because everything you do is amplified. You got to pass the ball quicker. You got to make decisions quicker. You got to be more physical. UVA will tear you down defensively, and they turn them into some tough turnovers. And a game like that, I think, is good for you down the road. You realize, okay, every possession's important.
Yeah, and to have a pleasant surprise like a guy like Landon Joseph, I mean, we see it in high school football all the time. Maybe some sophomore you didn't think was going to be in the mix has a big night, and you realize, man, I can't keep him off the field.
Yeah.
So somebody like that shows you go down there and score 20-some points against Virginia. You can't keep a guy like that off the floor if he's going to deliver.
No, and he had another big game earlier in the year on the road. Some people are just gamers, and you don't know until, the lights come on, the band's playing, and you tip it up. And that's sort of what he's done so far. He was in the media session on Tuesday with Coach Jackson, and that tells you right there, Coach Jackson, trusts him, and because you don't normally trot freshmen out there to speak to the media, and he handled himself well. In fact, said growing up, Kyrie Irving was his idol. He goes, I'm not even close to him, but that's the guy I watched growing up.
He's modeled his game after that guy. Finishing around the rim shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah,
right?
he's got a pretty little turnaround jumper. It looked like Jordan to me, but he's got a nice offensive game. So that's just one aspect, and the competition won't be as fierce in the coming days as it was against Virginia. So, they're still molding the team together. But they're a fun group to watch. They got a lot of depth, a lot of guys that can shoot.
Yeah, and I know Saturday was, a fun day at the Henderson Center, despite the result of the girls' game. But to have Kentucky in your building, I saw a lot of people on my social media feed that were at the game and with their friends. Like that was a big day to kind of show off the program and what we have going on here.
Yeah, and kudos to UK for making a road trip. I mean, that doesn't take a lot to bring your team in. They're ranked, and they were heavy favorites. They got a tall lineup. They got a bunch of people that can play, and to bring them down to Huntington, it's an easy trip over from Lexington, and it gets people in the Henderson Center fired up, and you showcase your women's basketball product. That's a nice matchup.
Yeah. Anything else that we should talk about, Keith? I don't know if you have any thoughts on not the Sun Belt tournament, the NCAA tournament soccer-wise. Jimmy and I talked about it a little bit. Marshall plays will be tomorrow, Thursday, against Cleveland State. I know that the Sun Belt tournament didn't end the way that they wanted to. Maybe a bit of a hangover from the WVU win, which was fierce per usual.
Yeah.
But, didn't get their first round bye, but everything that you want to do is still ahead of you.
Hey, soccer's a crazy sport. It's really hard to figure, and UCF came in fired up, and Coach Cressy's guys, I wouldn't say they just thought they had to show up to win, but they were so emotionally and physically spent after West Virginia. That's a big win to win up in Morgantown. But you got to bring it to finish up the championship. Where that hurts them is now they have to play Thursday instead of Sunday. That's a little bit, quicker turnaround, and they've got some injuries. He said he started with 28 players. He's got 18 now.
Yikes.
So, the injuries in soccer can mount. But, they were in the same scenario last year, and they rode it all the way to the national championship game. So it's a 6-game season for everybody that's still in it. Kentucky's in it, West Virginia, UCF out of the Sun Belt. It's a good Sun Belt conference. So now everybody's 0-0 and go see what you can do.
We won't have to think about this till they get there, if they get there. But Vermont also on the complete other side of the bracket, by the way. So if you want your get back, you know where you got to go to find them.
Vermont, man,
you got to go the whole way to find them.
Their fans had so much fun last year in North Carolina when they won that. It reminded me of when Marshall won because they had never won a national championship, and they just erupted. It was a cool scene. But, you get to that level, everybody's good, so you better bring it.
Yeah. Who was it that the Vermont basketball team beat in the NCAA tournament a few years back?
Oh, man, I remember this.
That, to me, is probably like, man, I'm not a Vermont what are they, the Catamounts?
Catamounts.
I'm not a Catamounts sports historian.
Here, let's see if I
that
can.
was
while you
probably their
talk,
biggest sports moment.
let's see while you talk. I'll see if I can Google it.
I'm trying to remember if it was Virginia, but I remember.
They beat Syracuse.
Okay.
Most famous NCAA upset, 60-57, 30-foot shot for the victory.
What year was that?
That was 2005.
Shoot, I thought they did it to somebody recently.
That was a 13-4. They said that's their most famous victory.
Okay.
So.
I'll tell you what I'm thinking of. UMBC. When
they beat
the 16 seed that beat
Virginia.
They won their conference tournament against Vermont on a buzzer beater that was all over.
The Retrievers, right?
The Retrievers,
UMBC.
yeah.
In
Had
fact,
a guy named Jarius Lyles that lit it up.
Yeah,
he
in
was
fact,
awesome.
Jimmy and I were in San Diego that day. That's the day Marshall beat Wichita State.
Oh yeah,
that was a 4-13. UMBC
2018 or something like that.
Yeah, UMBC was a 1-16, and that was all the rage. Everybody's talking about the
Yeah.
Retrievers. So that was fun to watch.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll be talking March Madness here in a few months.
It'll happen quick.
We will save that.
Yes.
So hopefully we have some teams that are in it.
I hope so. Kentucky, they got to shake off that loss to Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
As we speak, they're getting ready to play Michigan State at the Garden, so that'll be a big test for them. But their fans, they'll jump right back on the wagon. Louisville's really good, and they proved it. Now they've jumped up 9 spots in the rankings. I think they're 6th. Yeah, so Kentucky dropped to 12, but long season, you got to go, got to play them. So we'll see how they flesh it out.
We always appreciate you up here. We'll let you get your show ready to rock and roll. We got the playoff rankings coming out tonight as well. Not that those matter until, November 30th.
Yeah, see who's going to
But
play whom.
not even that. It's the next week.
Uh-huh.
It's after the conference championship.
Yeah,
So
that's
that's
right.
when they really matter. But
Yep.
I'll still be paying attention like it matters.
Well, they're fun to watch. It gives them something to talk about, right?
Right.
As if we need more to talk about.
What they need to do is move that selection show as quickly as they did the soccer tournament.
That's right.
Because that thing, they drag it out forever. I feel like the soccer one was over in 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
We had the whole bracket.
They do it.
I know.
Money, money, money.
All right, Keith.
All right,
Appreciate
Joseph.
it, brother.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir. All right, I will take us home here. We have a QR code now, by the way. I'm going to flash it up on screen right here. So if you get your phone out and you're curious about, maybe you heard me reference the Jimmy Tracy episode from earlier this week and you want to find it, scan the QR code with your camera app. It's going to take you to the WSAZ app /WSAZ.com, and it's going to take you to the Sports Plus tab where all of our episodes live. And they're there forever, so long as, we don't get ourselves in trouble here and they take us off the air completely, right? That's not our intention. So all those episodes will be there. Take your pick, press play, do what you want to do, listen to it, watch it. We are also on YouTube. We are also on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We are on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter at WSAZ Sports Plus. So we can be found just about everywhere. But, that QR code, share that with a friend, screenshot it, whatever, and tell people this is where they can find us. We're trying to make it easier on you to find us because this is streaming, which is kind of a new thing for some folks. All right, I think that does it. Appreciate you joining us on this Wednesday night, 9 o'clock stream. We will see Keith again on the stream next Wednesday at 9 o'clock. We'll be talking college football, college basketball, and whatever else happens between now and then. For now, I'll let you all go. I'm going to get out of here myself. I am Joseph Payton. This has been WSAZ Sports Plus.